Hoolalali and welcome back. It's Monday night, just after 8:30. It's time to talk all things fight right here on Love World Sat with me, your host, Mark Joubert. Thanks so much for joining us. And tonight's show, proud partnership with Bare Knuckle. We're going to be wrapping up One King of the Jungle. We're also talking Karate One, the Premier League. Mikey Garcia versus Jesse Vargas. Also, we're going to be talking Glory 75. That UFC Benavidez versus Figueiredo flyweight fight. And then, second half of the show, we're going to spend a bit of time unpacking GFC 89 Ultimate Fight Night. Thanks so much for joining us, as I said. But I think before we get started with all of this weekend's big punchy kicky action, let's have a look at some of the big stories that I'm sure you've seen, you've heard about, and maybe you just wanted to get a little bit more information about. And I think the first one is a big up to MMA South Africa. For me, they put on their very first Level 1 or IMAF Level 1 MMA coaching course this weekend in Johannesburg. So can't wait to see what happens next after that Level 1 course. Staying with IMAF, and it was also just recently announced that IMAF have introduced a brand new MMA tournament. It is the World Team Championships, set to be held later in Bahrain. And that's at later this year, and that's at the beginning of December. The MMA World Team Tournament is only open to the top male and female athletes, and priority is going to be given to the athletes from the top 14 national teams, that's for men, and the top 6 national teams for women. There will, however, be wild card opportunities for the next 2 national teams in both of them. And then the big one, a lot of people are still talking about it. I mean, I arrived in studio a little bit earlier and everybody was still abuzz with what's happening because it's on. Wilder versus Fury 3 has been confirmed to take place later on this year in the States. To be specific, 18th of July at the MGM in Las Vegas. So big question is, what happens if Wilder wins? Is there a 4? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But looking at some of this weekend's big punchy kicky action, first up on Friday was One King of the Jungle, and an event that took place in Singapore behind closed doors, and that was simply because organizers wanted to just minimize the spread of this global pandemic that's going around, the coronavirus. So all of the athletes performed walkouts, fights, to literally nobody sitting in that stadium. It was just the events team, and geez, what a performance it was. Despite the fact that no one was watching live in the stadium, millions around the world were watching live online. So let's take a look at a couple of the highlights from the main event of One Championship this Friday.
Taking on Mai Yamaguchi in an atomweight contest with world title implications.
Talk about rising to the occasion. Denise Zamboanga looked spectacular, showcasing stellar takedown defense. But then that boxing, that linear boxing was just on point, lighting up Mai Yamaguchi, but dominating her from the top position and really announcing to the atomweight division that a real #1 contender has risen.
And with this performance tonight, Denise Zamboanga, as confirmed by Chatri Sityodtong, will get a shot for the atomweight world title, taking apart Mai Yamaguchi and winning by decision. Then we had the man they call Sexy Yama, the great Yoshihiro Akiyama, against a rampaging, bulldozing tank from Egypt, Sharif Mohammed.
Sharif Mohammed came at Akiyama. You could see it right from the beginning. Akiyama, utilizing the veteranship that he has, he was able to time the oncoming rush and have a beautiful fade away check right hook to drop Sharif Mohammed and score his first One Championship medal victory.
Sexy Yama's experience prevailing against the bulldozing tactics of Sharif Mohammed. And after that, the KO King Amir Khan met a former training partner in Kimihiro Ito, and he didn't last long.
The game plan was executed perfectly by Kimihiro Ito. He knew that Amir Khan would explode and try to get up, but he would give up his back in the process. And when he did that, Ito sunk in a rear naked choke and put Amir Khan to sleep.
Fantastic performance from Kimihiro Ito, taking care of business quickly against Amir Khan in our co-main event. For the inaugural strawweight Muay Thai world title in one Super Series, the living legend Sam Gangadao proved a little too much for the young phenom, 20-year-old Australian Rocky Ogden.
What a performance by Sam Gangadao. He is truly elite on the feet. His reaction time, his combinations, his pinpoint accuracy, his understanding of distance was exceptional, putting a beating on the young 20-year-old Aussie brawler. But what a performance to continue his strawweight dominance and capture his second sport world title.
Take your hat off to Rocky Ogden if you're wearing a hat. A marvellous performance from the young Australian, but Sam Gangadao showing why he is one of the greatest of all time. You do not have enough fingers on your hands to count the number of world titles that Sam has. Then in our main event, the one we've been waiting for, Stan Fairtex rematching Jenna Todd, but this time for Fairtex's kickboxing world title, it was epic.
It was time to run it back. JT knew she had to overcome insurmountable odds to score a victory here tonight, and she applied that pressure and kept it on from round one until the final bell, scoring heavily with punches and kicks, scoring huge shots over and over, but just Stamp could not keep up with the sheer volume of JT, and we crowned a new atomweight kickboxing queen.
It was a marvellous performance from Jenna Todd. She came out smoking in the opening round, started to drop the liver shots later on in the contest. Stan Fairtex gave it her all, especially to the lead leg, but Jenna Todd takes the gold back to the USA in an historic moment in one Super Series history. Folks, plenty more One Championship action coming your way.
Absolutely fantastic there from One Championship, mixing it all up, MMA, kickboxing and Muay Thai all under one roof. Moving to karate now, and the third leg of the Karate One Premier League took place in Salzburg this weekend, and here's some of those big results. In the men's kata final, it was Kazumasa Moto who came away with the win there for Japan. And here in the women's kumite under 50 kilogram final, it was another Japanese fighter, Miho Miyahara. She defeated Spain's Nadia Gomez. In the men's kumite under 60 kilogram final, it was victory to North Macedonia. And in the women's kumite under 55 kilogram final, Italy's Sarah Cardin. She defeated Germany's Jana Messerschmidt. In the men's kumite under 67 kilogram final, Rafiz Hassanov defeated Italy's Luca Maresca. Moving to the women's kumite under 61 kilogram final, Turkey's Merve Coban defeated Haya Juma from Canada. And in that men's kumite under 75 kilogram final, it was a stunning victory for Iran. The women's kumite under 68 kilogram final, victory went to Li Gong of China. In the men's kumite under 84 kilogram final, Uga Aktas, he was handed victory due to an injury to his opponent, So not much here to do in order to win that one. While in the women's kumite, heavier than 68 kilogram final, it was another victory for the Iranians. Clearly an emotional moment there. In the men's kumite, greater than 84 kilogram final, it was the Ukrainians with that win. And we finish off this Karate 1 Premier League footage with some of the action from the team kata finals. And on to boxing we go, and that huge triple header that took place at the Ford Center in Texas on Saturday night. In the WBC flyweight title fight, it was Julio Cesar Martinez that successfully defended his strap with that unanimous decision victory over European champion and previously undefeated Jay Harris. For Martinez, it was his first title defense since winning the title back in December, and he moves to a career record of 16-1. That co-main event, the performance by that four-time world champion Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. What a performance it was, because he successfully returned to the top of the pile. And here I'm talking about the super flyweight division with a brutal 9th round KO of champion Kel Yafai. And for Kel Yafai, it was his first professional loss. And for Gonzalez, he improves his career to 49-2. And then, if 2 title fights wasn't enough for you, it was the big one, the much anticipated Mikey Garcia versus Jesse Vargas. If you recall, Mikey Garcia coming off that first welterweight defeat against Errol Spencer Jr. That was early last year. He vowed he would come back stronger. He definitely wants to win in a 5th weight division, does Mikey Garcia. And boy, he was looking for redemption, and he definitely got redemption on Saturday night, because Garcia dropped the former 2 division champion early in the 5th round, and as a result of that was able to walk away with that unanimous decision victory. As a result of that win, Mikey Garcia improves his record to 40-1. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk kickboxing, and then we're going to wrap up with the UFC action out of UFC Norfolk. See you when we come back.
Get faith-inspiring testimonies for living in divine health from the Healing School magazine. It's free of charge and easy to download. Just log on to www.enterthehealingschool.org/magazine. Fill in your name and email address. Download now.
It is a busy day ahead. Don't let that busyness stop you from staying on top of what is happening around the world. Get all your politics, your business, and all your sports, and get connected to what the Church of Jesus Christ is doing all around the world. AM Live on Level Set every weekday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Get a boost on AM Live.
Welcome back to Fight Sports Uncovered, proudly brought to you by Bare Knuckle. And like I said before the break, we're going to come back and talk a little bit of kickboxing, and we're going to move over to Utrecht in Holland, where Glory 75 took place on Saturday night. And I'm going to talk you through some of the highlights from some of the big fights, the entire card, in fact, that took place in Holland this weekend. It was Klein versus Tincherina in a super bantamweight bout. And as you can see, a lot of action with Klein trying to get inside Tincherina. And at the end of it all, it would be, we go to the judges, and it would be a great win for Klein in the opening bout of Glory 75. Next up, it was Sonnenfeld versus Kampoy in a featherweight bout. You gotta love plenty of spinning back fists from Kampoy, along with some of those huge kicks. And not to forget a couple of great uppercuts there too. All enough for Kampoy to come away with that win. Next up was Fosciani versus Jin in another featherweight bout. Jin with the initial aggression. And that was until Fosciani found his rhythm. Big knee to the head. And it would be Fosciani's rhythm that would ultimately give him that win. Next was the lightweights with Hendorf versus Gazani. Gazani becoming acquainted with the canvas early on in the fight, and then coming back with some strong counters of his own. And it would be those strong leg counters that would give him the victory there. Also in the lightweight division, Belay versus Saladiek. Despite the initial aggression, it was Belay who got the knockdown. Spectacular head kick. Look at it from this angle. Wow. And then this knee. All those leg strikes making it relatively easy for the judges in this one. And then it was time to see if Anissa Mexen could make it 100 professional wins in her career. Fantastic milestone that she was working towards in this event. And after all is said and done, it was Anissa Mexen with 100 up.
Victory number 100 for Anissa Mexen. She will go back to Paris, France.
Next up, the light heavies. It was their turn, the bout between Maslobayev and Manart. was a pretty one-sided contest, as you can see, in favor of Maslawayev.
Neutral. 1, 2, 3.
Manat definitely not comfortable at all throughout this fight.
Neutral. 1, 2. Neutral. 1. Neutral. 1, 2.
And understandably getting the win. The welterweight clash between former champ Grigorian and Bates. A little bit of controversy in this fight. Grigorian landing that punch long after the ref had told the fighters to break and stop. But despite all of that, it was Jamie Bates with a win. Then the lightweight bout between Bestati and Pelandre. A hard-fought encounter between the two. Great combinations there by Bestati. Just enough to give him the win. The middleweight clash between Belgori and Stuyben. If there was ever a dominant victory on the night, this was probably it. Belgori definitely not giving Stuyben any chance. Big right hand there.
For your winner, Yusri.
And in the main event, Pitch Panamrung was up against Sarai Adamchuk for the featherweight title.
Let go.
Big kicks from Pitch. Adamchuk with the rolling thunder. But that was not enough to upset Pitch. He would successfully defend his title. Huge night for Glory 75. And all that's left for us to talk about is what happened at the UFC. And talking about the UFC, in our build-up on Friday, we spoke about the fact that UFC, this event, didn't really have anything. For me, it wasn't a numbered event, and yet you have a flyweight title on the line. It was essentially one of those events that UFC for the longest time have really been struggling to do something with the men's flyweight division and the women's featherweight division. Both, can we call it, the bastard divisions of the UFC. And finally, they were putting an event together with both of them on show. The big question is, were the athletes going to be able to save those divisions? A lot of talk been happening about whether those divisions should continue within the UFC, particularly the men's flyweight division. And we all know that we've had a title now become vacant. So as a result of that, it was this situation where you had Joseph Benavidez up against Davison Figueiredo for that UFC flyweight title. And if we didn't think that whole event and why it wasn't a numbered event and why there was really nothing special about the event, it hasn't really been hyped and marketed as much as the other title fights. Things got off to a rather dramatic start when at weigh-ins, Davison Figueiredo missed weight. He was given an additional hour, if I remember correctly, to make that weight and still missed the weight. The result of it being that no matter what happened, Figueiredo could not win the title. It was literally a title that Benavidez could only lose. It was only him that could win the title. But what was also interesting is that the UFC stated that the title still belonged to the champ until the conclusion of the title fight. Now, the big question going into the fight is, with Figueiredo losing weight, what would happen if he won the fight? And as if scripted in a Bollywood movie, it happened. Figueiredo, absolute thunderous knockout of Benavidez in the second round. He wins the title, but doesn't get the title, if you know what I'm saying. He's won the fight. So the big question is Henry Cejudo still the UFC flyweight champ? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. The big question here is where does the flyweight division move to from here? Because a lot of people are talking about the fact that the flyweight division could quite easily be killed if the UFC decides that it's not good enough what Figueiredo did over the course of the weekend. The other big question is the ladies' featherweight division. Both the ladies that were looking and probably on most people's scorecards expected to win did walk away with their wins. The big question now, who gets to face Amanda Nunes? We're going to have to wait and see if the UFC puts that on. Coming back to that flyweight title fight, very, very interesting because Joseph Benavidez joins a long list of athletes that have now fought multiple times for UFC titles and have yet to win one. Let's take a look at this list. There you can see Joseph Benavidez joining that list, and we can see some notable MMA fighters sitting on that list. Uriah Faber, Dan Henderson, Chael Sonnen, Kenny Florian, Pedro Rizzo, and obviously Alexander Gustafsson. So he joins that long list. No one has ever gone 0-4. Will Benavidez get a chance to go over 0-4 and form a list all on his own? We'll have to wait and see what the UFC does with this division. I'm going to leave you with that thought, and when we're back, we're talking local action. We're talking GFC 89 Ultimate Fight Night. See you right after this.
Thank you for watching Love World. We're doing lots of beautiful things around the world today, and I just want you to be a partner with us. Pastor Benny and I are doing a lot to bring you these beautiful programs, and we are so sure that you are getting blessed. We want you to send this message to others. Send this gospel around the world. Like David said in his prayer to God, he says, send us around the world with the saving message. Send us around the world with this gospel. The gospel of Jesus Christ is the only power of salvation. So join us today as a partner. Maybe you want to be a monthly partner, or maybe you want to do it annually, quarterly, weekly, however it's convenient for you. Be a partner with us. We've got lots of partners around the world, but it's never enough until you are among them. You've got to be one with us, because we are raising a strong partnership for the gospel around the world, in every nation. It's very important because it signifies the seriousness of our gospel, and that each one of us takes the gospel as important, a priority to us. We must win the lost for the Lord Jesus Christ. He gave his blood for it. He gave himself. There's nothing too good for the Lord. There's nothing too much for him. So join us today and be a partner with us. God bless you.
To make donations or partner with Level Sat, please call us on +27 11 886 1778 or visit our website at www.lovewaltsat.org. You can also send your donations by post to Love WaltSat, 333 Pretoria Avenue, Randburg, 2194. And you can make your giving easier by using the Kingspay app. Log on to www.kingschat.online. The recipient code is LWSAT. God bless you.
Welcome back to Fight Sports Uncovered, proudly brought to you by Bare Knuckle Fight Gear. And like I said just before the break, we've wrapped up all the international stuff. It's now to talk local because you know local is lekker. And I'm talking specifically about GFC 89 Ultimate Fight Night. Took place in Centurion, midway between Pretoria and Johannesburg on Saturday night. It was the first time ever that I know of here in South Africa where we saw a mix of martial arts plus not one but 3 eGaming fight tournaments take place under one roof. And joining me in studio right now to talk about GFC 89 Ultimate Fight Night is Deirdre Leroux, otherwise known as D. Leroux, and Frank Monze. Good evening, Dee. Good evening, Frank. Thanks so much for joining us on the show tonight.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having us.
Dee, I want to start with you. If we look at the fight promotion game, amateur fighting in South Africa, as a woman and as a fight promotion owner, you've got to have some serious challenges.
Loads of challenges.
Loads of
challenges. Being a woman in a, call it mostly guy sport.
Yeah.
A lot of people underestimate you, and the challenges are really big.
When you say people underestimate you, what? Your knowledge on the sport?
Your knowledge on the sport, just whether you can actually do it or not. So it is a big challenge.
I mean, look at your experience in the sport is not just a promotion. You're a certified IMF official.
Yes, I was an official at the IMF Worlds 2 years ago, and I do enjoy it. My passion is the athletes and trying to get the best for them.
Awesome. That's great news. I mean, but GFC 89, it's your 89th event.
Yes, it is.
Surely that's got to make you one of the longest running amateur promotions in the country.
Yes, we are. My partner Brad started. It was originally not called GFC, but as the years have gone on, we had a name change. We've called it GFC, which is the Gauteng Fighting Championships, and we're just going from strength to strength.
And in the Gauteng Fighting Championships, you bring athletes from not only all over South Africa, but also outside of the country.
We try and bring them from all over. GFC 89 saw athletes from Nigeria, DRC. Sadly, Zimbabwe had problems and issues with transport, and Swaziland had some problems. So sadly, they weren't with us. But yes, we compensated for them.
GFC 89 was also a whole new experience because, like I said in the intro, it didn't only have the usual MMA, which GFC's put on for the longest time. There was a mix of Muay Thai in it, as well as these 3 e-gaming tournaments that took place. So, talking e-gaming, Frank, you've been in the local fighting game scene for now well over a decade now. How have you seen things change and this concept of bringing real fights with gaming fights under one roof on one night? How does that working for you?
It was a very interesting experience, to say the least. The fighting game scene here in South Africa has definitely seen some spotlight over the past year or so. We've had a lot of top players come in from internationally, and right now it definitely feels like a lot of eyes are on the local fighting game scene. And Yeah, GFC 89 happened this past Saturday. We've had a lot of top local players come through, and it's just been a great time for the local FGC.
Some of the challenges that the FGC are facing in terms of getting tournaments, is it just the number of tournaments, or are we looking at prize pools or access to tournaments?
All those things. There's obviously travel expenses involved, covering the expenses of the games, the DLC, things like that. If you're running a tournament, say in US or Europe, you have access to the publishers. For the gaming publishers, tournaments are a great platform to showcase their products. So they're willing to cover expenses like that. But here in South Africa, gaming is definitely a luxury for the players. We have distributors, not publishers, but they're not as willing to, cover those kind of costs. So there's a lot of financial challenges that come with running events like that.
Number of gamers wanting to play, there's plenty, surely.
Yeah, it's, we have a local Discord. It's definitely one of the biggest Discord servers in the country. And it's purely for fighting games. So the players are out there. It's just a matter of running events of the quality where they'll want to actually come out and compete. And there's a lot of challenges associated with that.
Talking about fighting games, is it a speciality e-gaming space? I mean, or is the notion that all gamers just play all games? Are there certain gamers that just focus on fighting games, or are they playing others?
No, I think those that specialize in fighting games specialize in fighting games specifically. But you will find overlap between the players of different games sometimes. But there's a whole host of different fighting games now, more than there ever have been in recent years. So you find that people tend to stick to the games that they enjoy and specialize in those.
Well, we were at the event on Saturday night and we got some really, really great footage of not only the gaming side of things, but also of the MMA and Muay Thai fight action that took place. Also, got some very, very interesting interviews with some of the development, well, a particular development coach of one of the big clubs that came up from KwaZulu-Natal to attend the event. Let's take a look at some of that footage. Right, Fight Sports Uncovered here at GFC 89 for Ultimate Fight Night. If you were watching on Friday afternoon, you'll know that we were building up to this event when we chatted to Len Swart at Thai Fitness. And here we are at the event, and with me is one of the head coaches of one of the gyms that's literally brought up 5 fighters from KwaZulu-Natal to compete here at Ultimate Fight Night, GFC 89. Let me introduce you to Ayanda Qaba. He is the head coach of Muay Thai MMA Boys. Ayanda, thanks so much for chatting to us, for taking the time out. You've had a number of fighters on the card thus far. One big fight coming up. It is the headline bout here at GFC 89. But so far, as a development gym from KwaZulu-Natal, coming up here to Johannesburg to compete, how does it feel to be given these opportunities to let your young athletes compete under the bright lights?
It's a very huge thing for us because we don't have many amateur events in KwaZulu-Natal, so that the guys don't get too much time to compete. So GFC has given us the opportunity, we appreciate it, and we wish to be part of GFC throughout the year, and we'll keep pushing. It's good for the development of the guys because most of them are still in school, they're still young, so it's good for them to compete.
So far you've had some mixed results from your athletes here, but I'm pretty sure that there's been a lot of learnings for you as the head coach.
Yes, true. Because as a coach, I also get to learn a lot. Because coaching goes two ways. You learn, you teach, and you learn. To be a teacher, you have to be a good learner. So yeah, from the guys, I'm very happy. So far, the results are, although we don't have 100% results, but the one that we have, I'm very happy. We still have a lot of learning to do, and we also need to push harder so we can improve our results coming to the next event.
Absolutely, and obviously looking forward to that main event. That's still to come, but obviously that is a very late replacement because one of our fighters, due to that attack, I think was yesterday. So how are you feeling as a head coach, bringing up such a late replacement into a main event?
We're very prepared. Actually, in our gym, every fighter, when we prepare for an event, every fighter is fit and ready to fight any minute. So our training is based on unity. We don't just train the fighters that are going to be fighting. Everyone trains. So just in case, like what happened last night, we received a call telling us that the main event fighter pulled out due to an injury. And when we had Kulego Vilagazi, he's fit, he's ready. And I'm really confident. I think he's going to win.
Well, there you have it. Right here at GFC 89 Ultimate Fight Night. Developmental fighters putting on a show for us here at GFC. That's GFC 89 Ultimate Fight Night done and dusted. GFC's first event of the year. And boy, a mixture of MMA, Muay Thai, as well as eGaming. 3 eGaming tournaments to be exact. And let me not tell you how good this was. I got one of the ladies, not the guys, one of the ladies that was here the entire night. I'm going to chat to Saskia, get a view from her what she thought about this mixture of all of this real action as well as virtual action. Saskia, you've been here the entire night. Your thoughts on putting all of this together under one roof? Got to be amazing.
It was an absolutely fantastic evening. All the fighting, MMA, Muay Thai, the gaming, all of it put together. I mean, you could see from the crowd side, everyone was going ballistic. Everyone was enjoying it. It was a fantastic evening.
Some of your big highlights that you witnessed tonight?
Oh, well, I think putting Muay Thai to this and the gaming as well, all of it putting together under one roof, it was just, there were some close fights. You could see the crowd was going ballistic. It was such a great evening.
Well, there you have it. I don't want to boast about it. I thought it was great. Here you're hearing it from one of the ladies, and she is absolutely raving about what she saw here tonight.
Fighting out of the blue corner,
and that's a wrap here at GFC 89 Ultimate Fight Night. As you can see behind me, everyone's feverishly getting together to put away and pack up what has been a fascinatingly exciting and successful night here at Warrior Sports in Centurion. We started off the night with 2 very, very quick fights. Then we tested the judges for 2 fights, and then for a number of fights, we went deep into the 3rd round. And to finish it off, we had a no contest in our co-main event, and then that spectacular knockout in our main event. Wow, what a night it was. And that's just the real fighting. I'm talking now about the eGaming. We had winners in the Tekken tournament, the Street Fighter tournament, as well as the Mortal Kombat tournaments. So not only was there some real fighting, the virtual fighting was just as exciting, with crowds shouting for both sides, both virtual as well as real. If GFC 89 is anything to go by, I can't wait for GFC 90, and I hope you guys are going to come along and get to have a look and see what GFC is putting together. Until then, can't wait to see you at our next event. Lots of fun had there at GFC 89 in Centurion at Warrior Sports. Dee, coming back to you, the concept of bringing Muay Thai into the event, obviously a very different kind of challenge to MMA because of a lot of the traditions that go with a sport like Muay Thai. We saw some images there of a coach putting the mongkong on one of the athletes, and that's just before they do the waikru, which is essentially the sealing of the ring, sealing of the cage in this instance, all in about paying respect to the gym, paying respect to the coach. But those kind of things, very, very different to what we're used to seeing at MMA tournaments.
Yeah, very, very different. And through all the negotiations, I was told that is the requirement. And I said, okay, fine. I hadn't personally experienced it before, so it was really exciting for me to experience it at my own event, which was great. And I loved it.
From a gaming point of view, sitting there with the gamers, I could probably quite comfortably say that not many of those gamers had probably been to a fight night like that. I saw some of the faces on some of those gamers like, what? Is this actually really happening?
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been kind of a surreal kind of experience for some of them.
No, for me, it was the first time seeing live MMA. Yeah, it was pretty crazy, to say the least. So I'm sure some of the other guys were feeling the same way as well.
Very different to when you're normally playing, hey?
Yeah.
All this other action taking place in the background.
Yeah.
Sure.
I now know why you kept telling me, I'm okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Looking forward at incorporating and continuing to incorporate, is this something that we can continue to see taking place at GFC in future events, the incorporation of the gaming into the real fighting?
Yeah, definitely. I think the response has been amazing, and I'm sure everyone would like to see it continue.
Dee, from your side, obviously a lot more events. This was the first event of 2020 for you guys. A whole number of events I understand that you've got left for the rest of the year. Do we sort of look to see bigger and better fight cards as we go through this?
Yeah, there's a lot of changes still to come with GFC. Don't want to talk about it right now, leave some surprises still. But yes, there are another 7 or 8 events for this year still to come, and lots more surprises. I think this word GFC 89 was a big surprise to a lot of people, and getting very excited for the next surprise.
You are very close to the national MMA team. You do a lot of work with regards to the Gauteng team. How are preparations going there in build up to, we've got nationals taking place this coming weekend. You're part and parcel of that team, I understand, from a management point of view. How are preparations going?
Preparations are going great. The team is going down. I think a lot of the team are going down on Wednesday. Some of us are traveling early hours of Thursday morning. Registration will be on Thursday from 12 o'clock, and fights are Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be an exciting weekend. It's going to be great to see, especially see some of the other provinces' fighters in action. Last year was basically KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. This year we have the inclusion of Eastern Cape and Western Cape as well. So it's going to be really exciting. Looking forward to it.
Well, there you have it. Not only have we seen some great local action taking place here in Centurion this last weekend, but KwaZulu-Natal this weekend sees the MMA National Championships take place. Well, that's all the time we've unfortunately got for you tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for joining us here on Fight Sports Uncovered. Join us again Friday afternoon, 4:30, where we build up to all of this weekend's action. Definitely be talking about those national champs. To my guests, Frank and Dee, to Butle and the team in the background, thanks so much. If you want to get hold of us on social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, or send us your comments on King's Chat. Until Friday, protect yourselves at all times. We're out.